Welcome. If you found this um, platform, you're in a very good place, especially if you're looking to understand more about auction finance, the auction process, and everything related. I'm doing a 28-day survivor guide that helps you ensure that you can buy property in auction and complete within 28 days. That is a very major thing. And why am I doing that? So I'm the author of Auction Demystified, and over time, I've helped a lot of people with auction. We've been involved in different parts of the process. So I know this is available on my website. You can get access to that. But today, I've done a smaller version that is more focused on really taking action towards your auction. You've got 28 days, 4 weeks. Usually, I tell people to start much earlier in terms of your preparation. So, we'll go through that quickly and you can have access to this 28 days survivor guide. I'll share my screen and then you can see what we would need to be doing. With the link that we're going to share, you're going to get access to this page. This is your complete auction purchase. Complete your auction purchase with confidence, and you can download this guide. All you need to do is just to leave your details, and you'll have access to this. This is something that you should see at your Bible for auction. Very simplified, but it's very action packed, and it helps you to get the right results that you want for auction. So takes you through buying auction can be exciting, but strict deadlines means preparation is essential. So download this, and either you're a first-time buyer, either it's the you've been to auction several times. This is definitely going to be a very good guide to you. So download these, and when you download this, you would be able to now have access to this. And let's just take you through this quickly. Buying an auction without losing your shirt, without losing your money, without losing your capital. That's the main aim about this, and you want to be very careful. Property auctions are one of the fastest routes to a great deal and one of the fastest routes to losing your deposit. The difference between the two is preparation. So you need to be very prepared. That is very important criteria. So why have I written this? Like I said before, we've been involved with auction. We've supported multiple people with different locations, with different starting points, with different focus, and more give them the results that they can achieve, not by themselves, but helping them through this process. So the guide is designed to prevent overpaying in the heat of the room, losing your 10% deposit, failing to complete within 28 days, buying a legal nightmare, and buying a non-mortgageable property, buying a property with hidden costs. This is to prevent you from all of those things, because any of those things that you get wrong is going to cost you a lot during your auction. So that's very important. In this guide, you're going to get 6 mistakes that drain auction buyers' bank accounts, 10-step framework used by professional investors, the red flag detector for legal packs. That's very important. The auction finance, either you're buying with mortgage, you're buying with traditional, or you're buying with cash, will take you through that. And then the 3 real case studies that we could share, and a 4-week implementation plan. This is focused on implementing. This is focused on making use of this guide. It's just not something for you to keep. It's a guide that you want to use every time. So just quickly, I'll just run this. The mistakes, the biggest mistake is costly mistake most auction buyers make is losing the deposit, overpaying, non-mortgageable property, legal landmines, hidden cost, and failed completion. So any of these would cost you quite a lot. It could be due to buyer's premium, admin fees, special condition fees that you've not factored into your plan. Legal landmines could be section 20 notices where the council expected you to pay some fees that you might not be aware of. It might be short leases. There's just a lot within those options. So always be careful. It said most auction losses come from legal surprises. not from property condition. Read the legal pack before you look at the photos. That's very important. That's what we recommend in this book. It's not about the pictures. It's not about you've seen the biggest, best project for you, but you want to make sure that you go through the legal pack. Discipline on the legal pack is going to save you quite a lot. At auction, preparation is profit. Lack of preparation is loss. So you want to be careful with all of that. So let's move to the next one. Auction buying demystified. This is 5 principles we try to go through. And this is your plan. From 21 days before the auction, you want to make sure that you check the catalog release, identify the lot you want, request the legal pack. 14 days before, you want to make sure that you're doing your proper due diligence. So you can see that buying at auction starts way before the bidding day. So that's where you are prepared. You're not saying things as just on the day or a few days before and you've not done your due diligence. So you want to make sure that you take care of that. 7 days before, you want to make sure that your finance is locked in, that all the conditions, all the legal pack is being identified, any red flag being identified that could affect the finance. So you want to make sure that you have that ready for yourself, for the condition of the property and what you're looking to bid for. Then your final check, you want to make sure that you obviously worked out your maximum bid. We're going to go through working out the maximum bid. You want to check that when the hammer falls and you're ready to pay your 10%. So that's some of the things. So 5 rules that's very important. The hammer is the contract. No second thoughts, no survey clauses, no subject to finance. This is the final decision. So number 2, the deposit is non-refundable. 10% walks away the moment the gavel drops if you cannot complete. So very careful. You buy as seen, no warranties from the seller or the auctioneer. So that's already been put into the legal pack. You're buying as you see. So that's why it's important for you to do your viewing and you do your due diligence. So 28 days is short. Lenders, solicitors, and surveyors must be lined up before the bid, which is what I'm saying. 21 days, you've made all this conversation. You've started the process so that it gives you the bigger chance of winning this. The catalog can be wrong. That's something that people don't expect. The catalog can be wrong. The cost, the auctioneer is not liable for. So the legal pack is the truth. And there's something after the legal pack called the addendum that might come in a day before, some hours before, some on that auction. So you have to listen properly when the auction is going on to make sure that nothing is changed. So very important aspect of that. The 10 steps. 1, review the legal pack. 2, confirm your finance. Inspect the property. This is what the professionals will do. 10 steps that will put together to make sure that you are acting as a professional, not a novice that's going to get burnt with buying in auction. So number 4, analyze the micro condition. So a lot of people say, I'm buying in this area, but they are not considering the micro condition, the micro location for the specific place they are buying, because one postcode different could make a big difference in terms of your calculation. So number 6, you want to run the numbers. Very, very important. You want to make sure you run the numbers. Number 6, you want to check comparable sales so that you are prepared for how much you're paying for. Number 7, you want to score the risk. Every auction would have its own risk. So you want to quantify what does that risk means to your profile. What does that means to you getting the finance you want. You want to register. You want to set your maximum bid. This is very important. A lot of people don't do that. They feel like this is do your calculation. We're going to show you that's an important aspect. So we're going to show you how to make sure that you've done your calculation properly, and you want to stick with that calculation. So you want to, number 9, register and prepare for the day. Upload ahead and confirm your email. Make sure that if you're going ahead to bid, make sure that you've registered, and most auction houses would have an holding fee on your card, so you have to be registered for that. Then know your exit. You don't go to buy a property, even if it's not auction, without knowing your exit. More importantly, if it's auction, you want to know what is the exit, because the finance you would likely get will be finance based on short term. So you want to know what is the exit, and this is what the maybe bridging finance or short term finance would expect you to know. So prepare this as part of your plan. And again, so we'll talk about the legal part. Legal part is the truth behind the property. Make sure you are checking that properly. I've talked about the addendum. Addendum, do not ignore the addendum. Very important document. Make sure that you're checking it out before you start the bid. Spot the red flag. What could be the red flag? So red flag before the auction. It could be less than 85-year lease. It could be doubling ground rent. It could be Section 20 major works. It could be missing searches. It could be structural or damp issues. It could be title issues. So there could be a lot of stuff. So make sure that you identify this and you price it into what you're planning to do. Because yes, they matter, but the important thing is what is the mitigation. So there are actions to this that you can take, but you want to be comfortable that you understand the action and you can actually implement the action. Rule of the thumb: more than 2 red flags on a single lot, walk away, because you might not be prepared for what is ahead of that auction. Maximum bid, and this is where I would say we'll give you a calculation to help you to understand the maximum bid. Your maximum bid, it's your discipline. If you can stick with this discipline, it would help you throughout the auction process. So your maximum bid is the highest price you can safely pay given your strategy, the risk, and the real numbers. Calculate it before the auction day. Write it down. Do not change it in the room. Don't get emotionally connected. Don't get sworn in by a competitor trying to outbid you. You know what? One thing I say to everyone going on auction is there are many lots. There will be many lots in the future. So do not lock yourself into something that will cost you a lot more just by bidding 1,000 more, 5,000 more. Emotional discipline is very important. You want to make sure that you understand the open market value, that if the property is being sold in open market value, what would that be? You want to understand the refurbishment cost, if there would be some refurbishment cost. You want to understand the auction fees. You want to understand the stamp duty, the risk buffer, because depending on what the risk is, the finance you get would maybe calculate and price that in. The legal process as well might mean that you're paying a bit more for some stuff. If it's leases, you might then think of you need to extend the leases. So you want to make sure that you understand and you have your risk buffer. Apart from your risk buffer, you want to make sure that you have a contingency plan. We always recommend 10 to 15%. If you can work with this guideline, this is a survival guideline. This is your auction 28 days auction survival guideline, and we are making this intentionally strict to the deadline. We are making this intentionally strict to make sure that you don't lose your money. So please, maximum bid calculation is a very important aspect of this. And we have the general formula here, which you can go to depending on the strategy you're using. Either you are buying to hold, you're buying as an investor, you're a flip investor that wants to do a quick turnaround, or you're an auction trader. There's different category and different ways you want to price your deal. So make sure that you have your numbers written down. You have it discuss with somebody else, please. This is going to be a maximum bid, and make sure you discipline yourself not to go beyond that. Finance wins auction. Whatever auction lot you buy, you need to pay the deposit, and you need to make sure that you can complete within that period. Either you are buying cash, which you should have prepared for, or you're buying through other party bringing you the finance, short-term finance, and the like. So you want to make sure that you have set that up. That is very important. There's buy to let, there's receive mortgages, but most times when you're buying an auction for 28 days, that's not going to work. Maybe for modern method of auction, that is 58 days, then you might be able to use a standard mortgage. But for auction, you're thinking short-term finance. It gives you the guarantee that it gives you the potential that you can complete within the short period. That's very important. If you have the cash, speed plays. So some people will buy with cash and then go back and refinance onto a longer term mortgage. So just understand what your power is and what you're working with. Non-negotiable before you bid. Make sure this is not getting you have your decision in principle in place or your illustrative terms to make sure that that is taken care of. You have your solicitor instructed and on standby for completion. Deposit your 10% minimum immediately accessible. Completion funds, it's ready, and then you completion fund is ready, and also you have your exit or your refinance plan. I always stress this seriously. Your exit is very, very important. You want to make sure that you have your exit plan. Whatever the property strategy you're using for whatever what type of property you're buying or the method of the sales process, your exit is very important because either you're an investor, you're living in there, you want to think about it. If I have to exit this property, what would that mean? Am I going to lose money or am I going to get some money? So that's very important. And what are the things I need to consider for me to be able to exit? So let's say you're going for exit onto a standard mortgage. You want to make sure that, yes, you can get the mortgage at that point. You want to make sure that you have your documentation ready for a mortgage broker to be able to support you. And you want to make sure that the rental value would be sufficient for the value of the property, for the amount of loan you want to take out. So there's a lot of consideration in there. So I always encourage people understand your exit. Very, very important. Auction day, execute, don't think. That's the important thing. You want to get your registration ID, finance and deposit, your numbers in hand. These reminders and 3 reminders to repeat. The guide price is marketing. So just understand that other bidders are not your competition. Your numbers are. If you miss this deal, there would be another. So that's the reminder you want to give yourself. That's the mindset you want to work towards. And red flags, you want to make sure that as you identify the red flags, you want to say, what's your auction red flag detector? And we have a 3-way zoning. So like, is it safe for you to go ahead? Do you go with caution? That means slow down, or do you stop completely? And that's the biggest red flag. That's the danger zone. You want to make sure that you do not get into the danger zone. This could be shortlisted, this could be section 20 major works, it could be unregistered title, so much, it could be anything. The rule here is 2 amber flags, it means that you have to reprice the amount you're paying. One red flag, walk away, because that's the danger zone. Unless the risk is fully quantified, fully priced into your maximum bid, and you have a written exit if it materializes. So you want to make sure. So it's not saying do not buy the worst red flag, but you have to be prepared. You have to be capacity to make sure that you can complete. This is not for everyone, so be very careful, especially if you're going to auction for the first time. So be very careful if you're going to auction for the first time. Auction finance itself. So auction finance made simple. There are 3 main ways really to fund your auction. It's either you taking a mortgage, you are taking a short-term finance, which is bridging finance, or you have cash. And just to go through that quickly. So we've arranged this in terms of the speed, the cost, the property condition, the lease length, the best for, we're giving you that idea, and then the risk factor. So make sure that you understand this and see how this will work for you. Like I mentioned before, mortgage is slow, 4 to 8 weeks if everything is lined up properly, but most likely that will not work for 28 days auction. So that's usually out of the park when you're talking about traditional auction. For modern method of auction, that could be enough things that you could do. Bridging finance could be 7 days to 21 days on average. So you'll make sure that, yes, we say it's fast, but sometimes it takes that amount of time, and a lot is happening within that time. So you have to be ready as a buyer as well. So that's quite important. Cash, if you have it, you have an instant. You already arrange that. So cost varies, and then property condition that is fit for will be property you can that is habitable. You can go for your mortgage. If it's modern method of property auction, bridging any condition really, that will be pricing into the property value. So this is best for if you're buying using a mortgage, buy to hold or buy to let. That's what a mortgage would usually be for. For refurbishment, for short leases, for flips, then your bridging finance might come in. If you're a trader, then you're buying below market value and you're trading in auction, then maybe cash would be your go-to option because it means that you can negotiate a lot more. And the rates may not complete. Definitely, mortgage will not complete in 28 days. You're relying with finance must work. That's why we talk about the exit. So don't spend too much money refurbishing and then thinking your exit it's going to work out. So you have to be very careful. With cash, you might have your capital lined up, and this is what makes the difference. People ask, if I have cash, should I still go for bridging financing stuff? For a lot of people that are in that position, it's mainly about the turnaround about their investments. Are they going to be locked on one investment because they put in all of their cash into an investment? So, 3 professional stages. So you're doing a BRR, which is buy, refurbish, refinance, or you're doing a buy, hold, refinance, or you're doing a buy, trade, reinvest. So whatever your strategy, understand this. This is a professional level thinking, but you want to, even if you're just starting or buying it for yourself, understand this concept is going to save you a lot of money. Let's talk through one of the case studies. We've got about 3 in here. We're putting some within the guide itself. Again, this is the 28 days auction survivor guide. So let's go through some stuff. Case studies, 18,000 overpayment. This is Sarah's case is buying 2-bed flat, guide price of 150. Sarah sets a maximum amount of 180 based on a quick comp checks on her phone. On the day, she kept clicking past the number, chasing another bidder, and won at 198. You do not chase bidders. Just know your numbers and walk away. That is the discipline you need for auction. So, lender downvalued the property to 190. She topped up in cash. Yield collapsed and refinance plan fell apart. A written max bid and someone in the room to hold her to it could have saved 16,000. That's why we mentioned you might need someone that is your accountable partner. So she paid a lot more for what she should not have. So that's very important. So you want to make sure that you have your numbers written down, and more importantly, you will have something to keep you accountable for that if you do not trust yourself to be disciplined enough. So just to wrap this up and give you the blueprint of what we are discussing. So this is the auction winners blueprint, and this is we're bringing it together the 10 core principles, the 5 mindset shifts you need to have, and then the 3 biggest mistakes. If you can work with these, you will be in a very good position. So preparation is profit. Guide price marketing. So you know that they just want to draw you in. Your finance wins the auction. Emotion is the enemy. Structure beats luck. You don't go to auction and feel like I'm going to get lucky. You want to have structure in place. The maximum bid is your discipline. Legal packs are the truth. Risk must be priced in. Very, very important. Speed is strength. The quicker you can move, the better it is that you can complete. And that speed also relies on you as a buyer. Because sometimes everything is lined up, The buyer is just taking time to provide what is being requested. So as a buyer, you want to make sure that you do not cause the delay in making sure your auction comes through to completion within the short time period. So very important. There is always another deal. Think about it. How many auction property come around every month or every year? I know people say there's this unusual property, this one of a lifetime property that you will come. Maybe you have to be ready that you know that you are buying from emotion. So be prepared for that. 5 mindsets that you need from I might get a bargain, I will buy at my number and not at all. That's the mindset you need. You want to move from the catalog says to the legal pack says. Whatever the legal pack says is what stands, not what is in the catalog. You want to move from I will sort finance after to finance is sorted before you register. You want to move from how much can I push to where do I stop? Very important. Where do I stop? You want to move away from I have to win this one to the next one is always coming. Always coming. That's the mindset. And 3 biggest mistakes: bidding without written maximum and walk away numbers, reading photos before reading the legal pack. The photos might look very lovely, but they can destroy your auction success if that's what you focus on. Don't get sucked in with emotional things. Assuming finance will be ready when the clock starts. So you don't wait till, oh, now that you win the auction, that's when you start in the finance. You are 7 days late. So you want to make sure that yes, they might still be able to do so, but it means that everyone would have to put all hands on deck to make sure this happens. So the important thing for you is to have a plan that you're going ahead with. So this is where the 4-week implementation plan would make a difference in terms of what success you get in auction. So week 1, research, subscribe to auction catalog, shortlist 10 lots, drive past 5 at least. See the area, have a feel for those things. Week 2, due diligence, request legal packs on top 3 that you're going for, instruct a solicitor, score the risk. So yes, you started with 10, but you want to reduce that to, okay, this is the top one I'll be focusing my attention on. So very important. You can see you're preparing before the day. Finance preparation, you want to make sure that your bridging facility issued or your AML and ID submitted, solicitors is being briefed. Like they are on standby for them to kick off. They've done some work. It's always encouraged for you to ask your solicitors to do a pre-auction review. Yeah, they charge you money, but that would save you thousands and hours of time locked into a deal that is wrong for you. So very careful. Week 4, auction execution. Final inspections, you want to make sure that you still have an inspection. You compare, you make sure that your comparables are still fresh, and the maximum bid and walkaway price written down. This is when you know you are ready for auction. So this is a survivor guide to help you. So please take your time to go through that. Take your time to check at several stages of this process to make sure that you're coming back to the guide to make sure that you're surviving the auction. You do not want to put yourself in a disadvantage. So please, if this has helped you, check other videos that we have. We've had videos around why property fall through, even auction properties, that you need to be careful of. And a lot of things, a lot of case studies we've started pushing out just to make sure that you can learn from other people. We've had a lot of resources, either video resources, our blog posts, or podcasts that we are running. We've got all of that lined up to make sure that you are in a good position to win in auction. So please don't forget, this is your masterclass in auction. Everything you need to know to be successful in auction from the refurbishment, from the buying, from the solicitors, from the legal pack, everything that you need to know, it's in this book. So what I've just shared with you is just a summarized version that helps you more to focus on actually going out for the bid. But I would recommend that you take time to read this beforehand. You take time to actually go through it, because spending a day, few hours on this would save you thousands of pounds on a mistake that you potentially could make. That's very important. And if you have any question, you can check on our website, book a section with us. We'll have a conversation with you, 15 minutes, 30-minute section, just to make sure that you are ready and you understand what you're going in for. As part of those initial discovery call, we would see if you're a good fit. If you're a good fit, then we will be able to help you to get the illustrative terms, to get your finance started, to get it structured. More importantly for us is just not the finance aspect, it's making sure that we are bringing everybody in the ecosystem. We are bringing them together to be able to get a result. Because sometimes your finance person might be wonderful, then you have an issue with the legal stuff. So it's very important that you have people that are working in like mind and want to achieve the same result within the same time frame. That's what you need to back you up. So if you're already planning to buy in auction in this July auction, or you've already bought in auction and you want to discuss it, you want to see how we can help you with the finance, please, we are here and we will be very happy to help you. So get on our website. There's a lot of resources on there. Like I said, our telephone number, contact us, request a discovery call. And if you have anything that we're excited to make sure you come share with us, please subscribe to this channel so that we can bring a lot more value to you. Make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you put a comment down. And if you have any question, please put it down in the chat. Wherever you're seeing this, either on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, make sure you have a way to get your question over to us, and we would definitely answer back. We'll do a recording to share what our thought is on your question. So thank you very much. We hope that you take your time to go through this guideline and increase your chances of getting a wonderful deal in auction. And not just a wonderful deal, that you want to make sure that you have the plan, the refurbishment, everything taken care of, and your exit is achievable and reasonable too. So thank you. You enjoy the rest of your day. If you have any question, again, you know where to find us. Thank you very much.